I'm Allan Milbratt, and I'm with PBA Architects, and we design insanely great schools. We're building a new high school for Erie, and as part of the process, Erie's changing how they deliver education there. So they're delivering in a project-based method. And what that means is the kids do projects to get their learning credits rather than sit in the classroom. And the kids can more or less select anything that they're interested in to do a project about. And they go to a thing called Project Boundary, and they figure out what learning credits they need to have in order to graduate, and they incorporate those learning credits into the project. So it does have structure based upon that. So they have to show that they meet the learning objectives in order to get their grade for the project. A couple projects that were really interesting were doing like a hydrogen converter or something with a car. I'm not sure I fully understand it, but they were working on a hydrogen-powered car. One of the other ones that really strikes me was last year a girl made her own guitar. So she had to go through all the kinds of things in order to make a guitar. And I mean, she literally built it all herself. And then at the end she created a documentary on how she built the guitar. Literally, you can make your project about anything. And I think that's what's really so neat about this school. Typical schools are not like that at all. So another aspect of the school that's really interesting is we're building a green school there. The school has a well-filled system for geothermal wells. It has, I believe, 56 wells down 490 feet, and they'll cycle water through those, and that'll provide the heating and cooling. We're also using the school as a teaching tool, so that the kids can explore, if you will, the sustainable ideas of the school and make that part of the curriculum that goes on in the school. So they're doing recycling, composting. But when you're making these kinds of shifts with education, you don't want to build a new building and say, okay, here it is, move in there and start teaching that way. And they didn't do that. They leased a building downtown, and they created that school downtown. So that's where they're doing the project-based. So by the time they move in there, they will have done project-based education for like 3 years. The other thing about project-based education is the space is really important. You can't just move into any space and do this. If you try to do it in a typical classroom, the teachers will just revert back to how they usually taught, and you really won't make any progress with it. So if you could, you ought to go visit this school, because it's really interesting.